Now it is. Okay. Adam, thank you so much. I shared this idea with you that I wanted to create like a podcast or a webinar, ask 3 questions, take 3 questions from you. And this has been 1 week since I shared the thought with you, and today we are recording. For everyone that's seeing, either of us don't know what those questions are, so we'll play along and see how those questions come. I'm also want to make sure this is the first episode, and I'm looking to name this Beyond the Usual. If the name changes in an impromptu mode, we'll know what the new name is. So with that, Adam,
Excellent.
you and I have probably known each other for close to a decade now.
At
And
least.
at least we enjoy tech conversations, and we've always been in touch in just many occasions. I don't think we've had more than maybe 3 or 4 months of no conversation. So it's always great to be in touch with you. And your most favorite emoji you give me is the one with the sunglasses. So thank you. Awesome. I will start with my first question, and then I'll take a question from you.
Okay.
So it's been very, very long time since the pricing engine days for you. Why did you become a technology founder?
I guess I like to build things, right? And I still look at opportunities to build things. Truth be told, my first field of study in college was architecture. And I had gone all the way through the undergraduate curriculum, and I was prepared to sign up for a 6-year stint, right? 2 years postgraduate, and I remember getting to somewhere in my junior undergraduate, and I looked at one of my professors. I was like, "Hey, all this design and all the things we're doing is great, but when are you going to teach us how to draft?" And he was like, "Oh." He's like, "You've got to go to a community college and spend another 2 years learning CAD." And I was like, "Time out. This is an 8-year program, right?" And I was like, I can do a lot of things in 8 years, And so, but I've always liked building, but I failed to complete my architectural training.
So, and these are things I didn't know. My oldest sister is an architect, and very similar in India. All of the courses are 4 years, and architecture happens to be 5 years there, and it never ends. You're always looking new ways of putting buildings together. So
So if you think about it, when I look at technology and fintech, whether it's pricing engine, I think there's always an opportunity where you see something being done a certain way, or people look at business or data in a certain manner. And I always, for whatever reason, have an ability to look at things maybe subtly differently, not get locked into the necessarily groupthink of how people look at traditional solutions or data traditionally. And I think when you step out of that forest, get some perspective, it becomes easier to innovate and actually be an entrepreneur. I think sometimes if you get too much shit locked into uh, traditional ways of looking at things, it gets much harder to innovate.
absolutely. Thank you.
All right, you ready for your question?
Yes, I am.
All right, so when I first met you, you had been an engineer for LendingTree. You'd been at LendingTree, I believe, for a good amount of time. We worked on a number of projects together, a collaboration between Loan Tech and LendingTree. And now I've watched you emerge into this CEO of a technology company, and I know the pressures of a W-2 employee and their silo, and the pressures of a CEO are uniquely different. So I guess the question I've got for you now is, now you've got that CEO hat on and you're looking at the industry you're in and the economy we're in, what keeps you up at night?
I would love to sleep better, and I am sleeping better, which is a strange response from me. Um, what actually in reality keeps me up, whether now or previously, is me not feeling satisfied that I've given more than 100%. Yes, we are, as an industry, facing challenge. As a startup leader, there are always challenges, especially when you're wearing multiple hats, having a lean team, multitasking on different aspects, employment aspects, accounting aspects, sales aspects, product aspects. But I still feel I get the opportunity to give more than 100%. So days that I'm usually not getting a good sleep is where I've either, as a leader of the company, not given enough time. Maybe I'm at a conference and I couldn't give time to the team or get to my emails. So those things would keep me up at night more than what challenge am I going to face tomorrow when I wake up. And I think some of it is like, when you start a business fresh, you have 1,000 things to do, and you realize you've got limited time. You've got time as a parent, you've got time as a friend, you've got time as industry leader. Just pick your top 3, try to get it done, give your best to get it done. They are going to fall back. But I think I've mentally come to the stage of like, focus. Right now we are doing this podcast. Let's just focus on this. Who knows what's happening in my emails? So I think that's kind of the best answer I can bring.
Excellent. That's a good answer.
Thank you. Entrepreneurship journey for you. 20 years ago and now. What are some of your insights, comparisons, contrasts? What can you share? What did it feel then? What did it feel now? What does it feel like now?
It's really something I think entrepreneurship you have to be passionate about. Like it has to drive you internally. It can't, like, sometimes I see these people that are like, oh, well, my coach helps me stay focused. And I'm like, who needs a coach to like be motivated? It's like, you know, kind of like, you know, when you're in an entrepreneurial mode, like, you might maybe, as you were just discussing, hey, I'm focusing on this because this is all I've got. But if there should be enough passion about what you're doing, that the notion of getting up early to dig in, to go do what needs to be done, to push all day, to work and like just do it. And I'm sorry if somebody's listening to this and they think that an entrepreneurial role to start a successful company is a 9-to-5 job. It's never been my experience or anybody's experience I know. You have to live it, eat it, breathe it, and love it. And in spite of all those things, you're going to hit fail points. You're going to hit points where you don't know how to get through tomorrow or next month. And the easiest thing in the world to do is quit. And the only ones that I don't know anybody who's ever been a successful entrepreneur who hasn't faced incredibly difficult challenges, and the resiliency and the persistence in my personal experience and most entrepreneurs I know, I'm going to say resiliency, persistence, and an absolute refusal to quit is probably more important than raw talent. Like, I'd say I've seen more people with raw talent that did not have that lacked the timidity to deal with the adversity you're going to face. And that doesn't mean they don't make great team members, right? They don't make great employees, and that they're not great people. But raw talent alone is far from enough.
Isn't ignorance bliss? Not knowing the pains you're going to experience, but still going through it.
So if I answered that question adequately, it's just like, you better have a passion for what you do. You better love it enough to wake up and do it every day, all day long, as well and as hard as you can do it. And you better have just the persistence and the mindset of an absolute refusal to tap out.
Thank you. My next question. All right.
Okay, so I've watched you build Bot Splash now for a couple of years, and It's exciting in these times that these adversities that you're looking at, multiple different avenues and the ways of applying technology you've built. But if you were to look at what you've built to date, what is the single biggest opportunity in front of BotSplash?
So you know my background. I'm coming from solving difficult questions or difficult use cases. BotSplash could have been a very simpler launch 7 years ago by saying, hey, we do SMS, or we do SMS and we are the best of it. Given my love for challenges, we somehow found our way to being a very enterprise solution, which becomes difficult in selling to simple use cases. So that itself is the biggest opportunity that we have. We being able to solve enterprise questions puts us in a good spotlight of enterprise clients liking us, people that have multiple use cases that are complex, that they need data sensitivity, they need compliance, they need AI kind of solutions that can be monitored. So where we stand today, being so heavily influenced with enterprises needing better solutions, that to me and our team is the biggest opportunity. We mentioned the markets are difficult. I also see it as an opportunity because when markets were good, big names, big logos, big marketing budgets were able to close deals and get those sales contracts done. Whether the platform itself supported the use cases that they sold in the marketing or not. We've heard quite a few of our prospects saying, hey, we went with this big brand, or we went with this large vendor that had 25 support people, but we didn't get what we wanted. 18 months down, we still are left with what we first needed. And they've switched to us and they've been happier. And we are very grateful that it took 2 years to convince them, but once they tasted it, they got the pleasure. I think the worst thing for me personally and my team would be any kind of false nods. I was like, oh yeah, that's easy, that we can get it done. And then during launch time to kind of stammer with like, we said we could get it done, but here's the reality. So our biggest opportunity is we sell what we have, and once we launch, our clients love what we have.
Excellent.
Thank you. And your last questions. You told a little bit about this in your previous question of like entrepreneurship and all, but I want to take this next question and go back to the coach moment that you mentioned, like some startup founders working with coaches and all that. So with all this entrepreneurship experience, if you were supposed to start a company for coaching younger entrepreneurs or inexperienced entrepreneurs, what would be the 3 things you will have them do as an homework or like everyday basis so that they get that taste of that grind, perseverance, and even integrity?
So I think it's really important to have a solid business plan, right? And I realize, particularly in the capital raising market, like everybody's business plan has this ridiculous hockey stick. We're going to start here, and then in 3 to 5 years, we're going to have our IPO, and right, and I think that's okay. I think it's okay, right? But I think it's really important that you have a business plan that, if it gets hit with economic upturn, like the last couple of years we've had here, in 20 from COVID, really to date, that you've got the ability to modify that business plan and to really understand the levers of what you're looking for, understanding your cost to customer acquisition, right? Understanding your cohort analysis and your churn rate on those customers, understanding your margins, right? Just based on, and in your competitive market space. And then, I think that would be sort of the curriculum to get going. But I think on the basis of wanting some sort of liquidity event down the line, I think when you start, even though you're paying attention to those aspects I just gave you, I think it's really important to look at the scope of exits that are in your space. And the entire time that you're going down the execution of your day-to-day customer acquisition, your management, your profitability, your growth, your scale, your marketing, the entire time it should be aligned with an exit strategy of who you identify your company as being a peer to, what kind of activity is in that space specifically amongst your peers, where they are with respect to their growth, their revenue, their multiples, like what I think you kind of have to look at it really narrowly at the front end to make sure you're on that path and be able to deal with the curves. But the entire time you should be looking downfield. On a sports now, I'm wearing my Green Bay Packers stuff, right? It's not enough to be like, hey, we're just going to go out here, we're going to execute, we're going to do this run, pass, punt. Like, you've got to be looking at the goal line with the expectancy that what you're doing from every inch of what you do to keep your business in play is designed that there's an exit at some point, a liquidity for you, the founders, your team, and your investors.
All right. That's a lesson for me. So I got good lesson. Thank you.
No worries. And then the last question I had for you, it kind of maybe ties into what we were just talking about. Like, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Right? Where do you see BotSplash in 5 years?
Doubled, tripled. As I said before, there is no better time than now to grow and multiply. So each past year, there were lessons learned, there were things that we addressed, fixed, and every new year is shift in markets. So looking forward, I would say 5 years from now, definitely triple would be a great goal. Because first 3 years, you're trying to stabilize your foundation, who you are as a person, who you are as a founder, taking questions as like 3 years, you've been bootstrapped, you've not raised financing, outside financing, looks like 3 years you're going to shut down. And then you hit the 5-year mark where people accept you, that you have a credible business, a stable business, you are making revenues, you're showing those ARRs, stable ARRs, but they also look at you like your competition has tripled up or has gone 5 times more than you because they've been raising and they are on that raising path. Why did you still remain bootstrapped? Like, what's the red flag that you're still staying bootstrapped? So I think when you cross that 5-year range, it's a whole different aspect and viewpoint from the people that are looking at you. They understand it's a choice of being bootstrapped. They respect that. And the focus goes into what have you produced in these last 5 years. So with that, today being in our like 6th year, I'm looking the next 5 years to be completely on growth because more people know what BotSplash is, who I am, the story behind why BotSplash was started. And another addition point to that would be, I named BotSplash 7 years ago, wanting to be a bot first company. No one wanted AI or bot. Like Adam, you and I probably were the only ones who would even discuss anything AI then. And it's like, forget it. Like wrong timing. But we stayed on, and it's very exciting to see all the AI use cases that we did not advertise then being live and in use right now. So next 5 years, there's going to be a lot of AI adoption, and can't see how BotSplash will multiply from those opportunities.
Awesome. Aru, it's always good to spend time. It's good to catch up.
Absolutely. Yes, yes.
It's always good to just chat with you.
Thank you so much. And you're the first one I will mention to record this event and or podcast. See, I don't even know how this is going to scale up, but I'm happy this was fun. Did you find it fun?
It was fun. It was great. And look,
Yes.
if there's anything I can ever do for you, just let me know.
Will do. Thank you so much. I will stop the recording now.